I used to think my boss hated me. Not in a dramatic way, just in that quiet surgical way some people have where a raised eyebrow feels like a pink slip and silence cuts deeper than any speech. My name's Ava Brooks, and for a year I sat outside the corner office at Northbridge Dynamics in Austin, filing, fixing, firefighting. If a deal was on fire, I had a bucket. If a room was too loud, I became air. And still, when Grant Ellison walked by tailored suit watch that could fund my rent for a year, I shrank 2 inches without meaning to. That morning, I was late by 30 seconds, heels tapping marble heart playing drums. The digital clock blinked 8:59 in red like it was judging me. I slid into my chair, tried to breathe, tried to be a plant. Then my computer pinged 9:30, deck final pass. From him. I clicked. Normal comments, sharp and clean. Still my stomach did that little drop. Grant never yelled. He didn't have to. He had a way of staring like you were a math problem with no solution. Here's the thing I didn't tell anyone I had a date that night. My best friend Tori had signed me up for a matchmaking mixer called Midnight Matches because she said I'd forgotten I was a person. I printed the invite on blush cardstock like a fool and kept it tucked between client briefs, just a little secret that proved I still believed in beginnings. I gathered the board materials, smoothed the pages, clipped the charts. My hands were steady until I stepped into his office. The place looked like a museum, glass steel, a skyline that didn't blink. He was on the phone, voice calm, eyes like winter. He nodded for me to leave the folder on his desk. I set it down, turned, and left. The door clicked behind me and my throat went dry. I knew somewhere between my bones and my bad judgment I'd just done something stupid. That blush invite slid out face up like it wanted to be discovered. 5 minutes later, his door opened. "Ava," he said tone. "Even, I'll need your help tonight." Board prep shifted. 7 words that shoved a knife through my plans. I tried to explain, tried to say I had something, anything, personal. His eyebrow lifted. "Is that a problem?" My mouth said no before my heart could speak. The text to Tori hurt. "Can't make it. Work. Again." 7 p.m. Came then 7:18. Files were perfect, nothing left to fix. I sat there like a kid who'd missed the school bus, watching my chance dissolve. His door opened, and he walked to my desk. Sleeves rolled just enough to look human. "I want your opinion on a hypothetical," he said. I stared. A hypothetical. Say a CEO has an assistant who's exceptional and overlooked. Say someone outside notices her, wants to pursue her. What should the CEO do? Let her go or stop pretending he doesn't see her? My laugh came out wrong, shaky, angry. "You knew about the invitation." His jaw tightened. He didn't deny it. I stood barefoot now because my heels had surrendered earlier. "You made me stay to keep me from going," I said. "You used work to pull the brakes on my life." "It's not a game," he said quietly. "Then what is it?" He looked directly at me like he'd finally decided to be a person. "I couldn't stand the thought of you with someone else. I wish I could say I melted. I didn't." "You had no right," I told him. "Next time ask. Don't control." I went home with my dignity holding me up by the elbows. The next morning, the air felt different, like the office had been rearranged by a wind I couldn't see. At 9:04, he called me in. There were 2 coffees on the table. "Oat milk, 2 sugars," he said. I blinked. "You remembered?" He shrugged softer than I'd ever seen him. "I've been paying attention," he apologized. No corporate gloss, no PR polish. Just, I used my position the wrong way. You had plans. I interfered. I asked the only question that mattered. Why? He said, because I've spent a long time pretending you're just my assistant, and I'm done pretending. I didn't swoon. I set terms. No public corrections. Thank you when it's earned. Lunch breaks that are mine. Boundaries he respects even when he doesn't like them. He agreed, and then he proved it quietly daily. Good work. How's your afternoon eat? The Ice King found a thermostat. Weeks later, the company hosted the Meridian Gala, a glass and gold spectacle you could see from the highway. I wore an emerald dress Tori swore was quietly dangerous. When Grant saw me across the room, he did this small, stunned thing with his face I'd never seen before, like gravity hiccuped. He asked me to step somewhere quieter. We took an elevator down to a private terrace, the city spilling light like coins. He didn't hide behind the job this time. I saw that invite, he said, and it felt like a countdown had already started. I thought I had time. I was wrong. So I'm asking, not as your boss, not as the man with the pen over your paycheck, as the man who fell for you when you were fixing the world in the background. He stepped closer, kept his hands to himself. I don't want you to go on blind dates. I want you to want me. And if I say no, I asked. I respect it. No retaliation. No weird meetings at 7. I stay out of your way. And this never touches your career. That's a promise. I believed him. I kissed him. Small, honest, terrifying. The city didn't explode. My life didn't end. But something in me unclenched like a fist I'd been making for years. Then came the Monday after the dangerous kind, where nothing changes and everything does. We did the quiet thing, the careful thing. No secrets that bent rules, no calendar blocks that looked like alibis, just two people trying to walk a narrow hallway without bumping the walls. When I got sick that weekend, I didn't expect the knock. He stood there with soup tea, and this looked like he'd been arguing with sleep and losing. You didn't answer, he said. I didn't want to hover. He hovered anyway on my couch, awkward kind human. When he said I love you, it didn't sound like fireworks. It sounded like truth you put down because it's heavy. 3 months later, the Founders Gala. Chandeliers. A string quartet playing something that made executives pretend to feel. I stood behind a curtain, hands on the front of a navy suit I'd bought on discount and tailored like it wanted better bones. HR had fought me for a year. The board fought me for 2 meetings. I was done being the person behind the person. That night, I was being introduced as Director of Special Initiatives. Earned, documented, voted. Grant stepped to the podium. He looked composed but softer at the edges. We often overlook quiet excellence, he said, scanning the room. Tonight, I refuse to. He pulled a folded card from his pocket, the blush invitation I thought I'd lost to a shredder. Months ago, he said I found this by accident. It reminded me that hesitation is just fear dressed in business attire. He set the card down like you set down a weight. She isn't my assistant, he said, eyes finding me behind the curtain. She is my colleague, my equal, the sharpest mind in this room, and the woman I love. Gasps, laughter, the clink of a glass. Someone forgot they were holding. I walked out. He offered his hand. I took it. The applause was the loudest thing I'd ever heard, and still I heard my own breathing over it, steady, certain. Later, on a high balcony where the city looked small and possible, I teased him. I was going to cancel that mixer anyway. He smiled. You could have told me that before I invented a crisis. Would you have learned anything if I had? He shook his head. Probably not. Here's the part that gets messy. The part people love to argue about in comment sections. Was he wrong to keep me that night? Yes. Did he fix it? Not with flowers. With accountability. With space. With a vote he didn't touch when the board considered my promotion. With a promise he kept when I pushed back. Do I think everyone gets a grant who learns? No. But I know I stopped being background music in a room where I used to whisper. And I learned this: being seen is not a favor, it's a standard. So tell me, be honest, where's the line for you? If someone in power pulls a string out of fear, can they earn their way back with courage? Have you seen quiet talent get overlooked until someone famous says it out loud? Drop your stories. Call out the double standards you've lived. If you believe in respecting boundaries and promoting merit and calling things by their right names, like and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs it, and tell me in the comments what justice looks like, where you work, and what you're not willing to let slide anymore.